Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So once again, Twitch is under fire for some recent developments. I think everyone is aware of the inconsistency and hypocrisy that takes place when it comes to how Twitch enforces its terms of service. We've seen the classic examples like with VTubers. A VTuber might show a part of their hip and receive a month-long ban. Meanwhile, your typical cam girl can run a softcore cam show on this 13+ platform and not only get away with it, but also get actively promoted by Twitch staff. Now, there's another set of hypocrisy when it comes to TOS that we're going to talk about today. One that is a lot more serious than even that. So basically, we're having a conversation where there are some comments about political and sensitive events that are getting some people in trouble, but others not in trouble. And we have to have a real conversation asking why Twitch is allowing some people to promote terrorist propaganda and to also interview terrorists and praise them, and also allowing some people to make fun of and wish harm upon U.S. military veterans. That is the state of Twitch at the moment. But all of this began because of the Asmongold ban. This conversation really rose out of this. I think most of you guys are aware of what happened here, but really quick, in his final stream, or his most recent one, he said, referring to the people of Palestine and Israel, that he doesn't care what happens to them because they're terrible people and they come from an inferior culture. And people got angry about this, and initially he tried to quell the outrage with this apology, just saying, my bad, but that didn't really make anything better. In fact, he was banned for 2 weeks on Twitch shortly after this post, where the following day he would make this video titled My Plans Moving Forward, where he would apologize, accept the ban, and basically say he wants to do many different things to improve himself, including cleaning his house. Now, the reaction to this has been very mixed. It kind of depends on who you are. The people who already disliked him, the overwhelming majority of them are not going to change their opinion of him based on this. And some people who are fans of Asmongold like this, some don't like the fact that he apologized. It's really up to you, but that's not why we're really talking about this. This is more of a backdrop for what we're going to continue on in this video. And a lot of people have been looking at what happened with Asmongold and how he got banned, and they're asking why aren't other people getting banned for similar comments about political and sensitive issues. And there's a lot of names that come to mind, but I think it's important to get a backdrop here, an additional backdrop. So right now, Twitch is getting a lot of flack for the fact that it appears that for a long time, people in Israel and Palestine were not able to create new Twitch accounts. And this was following the October 7th, 2023 attacks, where they temporarily disable things. However, they would try to embellish this and would get caught by a community note where basically they're correcting the record and saying that both email registration and phone registration were blocked for several months after this. In fact, Clancy, the CEO, would come out, he would take a break from watching his favorite cam streamers, and he would say, very sorry about this mistake. The following tweet explains what happened. We only discovered this problem today and quickly worked to fix it. This tweet explains what happens. And he would get hit with notes himself, a double feature of community notes here, where people would bring up many different points, including the fact that this issue's been raised for months and months, and Twitch has not done anything to remedy, which is essentially a geo-block on that region. But also people started saying, why aren't you enforcing policies against certain people on your platform? Because if I'm going to be very generous to Clancy, you can make the argument that maybe he wanted to keep that region locked from creating new accounts to ensure that extremists won't use their platform to say negative things and get Twitch in trouble. However, that argument kind of falls apart when you realize that the platform already allows that stuff to happen. Extremist views are being promoted and encouraged by some of their most recognizable streamers. And the first one that comes to a lot of people's minds is, of course, Hassan Piker, who recently, with Nick on stream, played a literal terrorist propaganda video. I am not trying to exaggerate or anything like that. It is literally a terrorist propaganda video. And you can see in the clip, Nick is very uncomfortable and realizes how insane this is, that this is happening live on Twitch in front of tens of thousands of people, while Hassan Piker tries to basically blow this all off as a whimsical video. It's a fun set of dances, when in reality, like I said, it is objectively a terrorist propaganda film being featured on his stream on Twitch. And on top of that, he has recently platformed a known terrorist, someone who is, again, objectively a terrorist, and this is someone he has interviewed, he has spoke very highly of, And in that final stream before Asmongold was banned, he actually was in a call with Asmongold where he referred to this individual, this known terrorist, as basically a modern day Anne Frank, a victim of the Holocaust. Yeah, I don't remember in any of her writings where she was expressing her desire to blow up ships or to attack or disparage people based on their race or their ethnicity. But anyways, nothing has happened to Hassan Piker, and that's not too surprising despite everything that's been going on recently. But there have been some people getting banned. So right here we have 4 individuals who are either a part of or adjacent to Hassan Piker's community. These 4 streamers were banned yesterday. You have Capri Sun Poppy, Frogan, Denims, and Vio. So we're going to talk about 2 of these individuals for the sake of this video. Really quick, let's talk about Denims, because when I saw her name come up, I was wondering why she sounded so familiar, but it's actually pretty simple. I've talked about her before back in April. So here's a little Rev jump scare. So if you don't understand what's happening on the screen, basically right now I'm reacting to Denims, reacting to Asmongold, reacting to me, covering a tweet about Mark Kern. Capiche? Simple, right? But anyways, like in all seriousness, what happened is, back in April of this year, an individual on Twitter put a $20,000 bounty on the head of Mark Kern over his comments about video games. And of course, my video covering that situation said, wow, that's unhinged. And then Asmongold reacted to that video and he said, wow, that's unhinged. And then Denims reacted to the reaction video from Asmongold, and this is what she had to say.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30K to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear.
So there was some debate on who she was referring to with that comment, whether it was Asmongold and/or Mark Kern. But either way, very unhinged, upping a bounty, trying to put a bounty on someone's head over video game opinions or someone criticizing this bounty that was placed on Mark Kern. And to make this clear, to clarify, she was not banned or punished or warned or done had any sort of punishment as a result of these comments. Her ban currently comes from something else we will cover later in this video. But the other person that is being talked about the most in the situation is Frogan. She's been under a lot of heat over the past couple of days. A lot of people have been asking Twitch to ban her for largely this clip right here. This is quite possibly one of the most unhinged rants I have seen on Twitch. So let's listen to this absolute slop.
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. Distress, thank you so much. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Who fucking who? I hope you get PTSD.
So yeah, that's really bad. That's already off to a terrible start. And just the audacity of this woman to sit in her comfortable home in California while she shoves food in her face, doing Twitch streaming for a living, wishing harm, wishing that U.S. military veterans have PTSD as they fought for her right to literally exist like this. It's absolutely insane, but it just gets worse and worse.
You know?
Oh, I also want to pause here for 1 second. By the way, she's drinking a Pure Leaf bottle right here, which is a product of PepsiCo, which according to most of those online boycotts that claim certain companies are funding the genocide in Palestine, PepsiCo is one of those companies that's listed on many of those boycott lists. So she is literally violating the boycott that she would probably attack others for violating in similar fashion.
The ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. I'm like a Tom. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted.
There's something just extra ghoulish about the fact that she's saying like, oh, these veterans deserve PTSD. Oh, and thank you for the 10 gifted subs. It's so weird to me. Like, how can you say that awful stuff in one breath and the next one be thanking people for gifting subs? Like this is it feels like dystopian. Like there's something terribly wrong here. It feels almost like a parody.
The U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, you know, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like, fuck imperialism. Fuck this. You don't deserve the PTSD.
Amazing. So basically, if you subscribe to her unhinged worldview, you don't deserve to have PTSD. Isn't that so generous of her? But yeah, obviously this got a lot of people very upset. And on top of that, to make this clear, what she's doing is a very clear violation of Twitch's TOS for hateful conduct. It is specifically listed in their rules that you cannot attack someone for their veteran status. That is not something surprising. That is basically cooked into every single TOS out there. You cannot attack someone based on their veteran status. That's nothing new. And yet, it takes Twitch a million years to reach a decision, which, spoiler alert, will have nothing to do with this clip. But anyways, a lot of people started looking around with this frogan individual, and it becomes very clear that someone who has so much to say about Israel and Palestine and the Middle East generally really has no idea what she's talking about. So this is a very quick clip we're going to play here.
Civilians without distinctions. Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze.
Okay, so they said...
So you might not have heard her in the background. She goes, "What the F is a Druze?" Which I think a lot of people in her sort of interest in her field would all know what that is. It's a religious and ethnic group in the Middle East, and she doesn't even know what that is, except, or despite the fact that she tries to claim to be an expert on the region, and she doesn't even know basic things like that. It just goes to show that these people are just wanton and reckless in their coverage of this sort of very serious set of issues. Like, why are we trusting this individual to have an opinion on anything? Especially given her hateful conduct. But there's also some other very weird clips coming out here. So let's listen to this one.
Can I tell you a story, but can you bleep it?
Yeah, but can we watch this, then you tell me the story? Or you want
It's true. It's relevant, I swear.
Okay, tell me.
My cousin gave us his old Xbox, and his username was Hezbollah something. And then we were like, bro, this motherfucker's about to get us put on a list.
That's really funny.
Why bleep that?
Yeah, why bleep that? Was he an American or is he from there?
He's American. He died.
Okay.
Recently.
Yeah.
Then we're good.
In what, the war or just generally?
Remember I told you my cousin died last year?
Yeah.
Then.
Okay.
Oh. Do you still want to bleep it?
We don't have to. I don't know. I don't want to be put on a list.
Yeah, I would guarantee she's on a list somewhere. So if you're not catching what she's saying, she's essentially heavily implying that her cousin went and fought for Hezbollah, a terrorist organization, and died overseas doing whatever your imagination might think. So it's a very disturbing thing to see a Twitch partner and someone who is a 3-time rising star on the platform, by the way, basically in a smug fashion brag about the fact that her family member fought for a terrorist organization. Very weird stuff, but she had more to say about this specific situation involving her cousin here, and also the fact that she has had the most pro-Hamas tweet of all time.
We don't have to. I don't know. I don't want to be put on a list.
Well, it's not your Xbox.
Yeah, it's not my Xbox. But yeah, we just wanted to play Mortal Kombat.
Bro, sweetie, you're already on the list, okay?
Believe me.
Do you think I am?
Yes.
Yeah.
You had the most viral fucking pro-Hamas tweet of all time.
Isn't this a weird time we live in where people are getting like pats on the back for having the most viral pro-Hamas tweet of all time? The most pro-terrorist organization tweet of all time. Isn't that wild? Isn't it a wild time we live in where people like this are being celebrated? But anyways, she would double down on everything, despite the very justifiable outrage of people on social media about her comments, specifically about the military veterans deserving to have PTSD. This was her reaction to her own clip. She would watch her own clip, and this was her reaction to her comments.
And they posted it in my head. I'm like, base? Base?
Yeah, I won't subject you to any more of that, but basically, in response to the outrage, she reviews her own statement saying these veterans deserve PTSD, and she said, that's based. Yes, this is one of the people who are the face of Twitch, by the way. But anyways, she would continue on to make many different comments that are highly contested about their accuracy, by the way. But it became very clear because she shut off the comments and was getting a lot of quotes attacking her, basically saying she also can't dish out what she is, or can't take what she's dishing out. We would get some news. She and those other streamers from earlier would be banned for 30 days for hateful conduct. And this is a very interesting situation because in Frogan's case in particular, she was not banned for the comments about military veterans. Apparently that's okay on Twitch, according to them, unless, of course, if you're the right person. But it was this panel, the TwitchCon rating streamers panel. So this is a very convoluted situation, but to sum it up very briefly, they were making an active tier list ranking streamers, okay? And if you don't know how tier lists work, the top is typically the S tier, meaning this is good, this is the best. And the bottom tier, the F tier, means bad. Whatever it is on there, that's bad. It's low quality, whatever. First of all, this list is really weird, right? The top is Arab. Then it goes down to Arab coded. And the bottom says loves Sabra. So if you don't know what that is, that's first of all a product that comes from Israel. It's on the boycott list. But if you translate it, it means someone born in Israel. And it just so happens that during this tier list, who was all in the bottom? It was all Jewish streamers like H3H3 and Ben Shapiro. You know, people who are in the relevant spaces, they were all put down in that F tier. Just so happens they're all Jewish. And yeah, that's an insane thing to do, right? We're doing a race tier list over here on a sponsored Twitch panel. And also look in the background. They're sponsored by Capcom, Samsung, Chevron, which is funny too because Chevron's also on the majority of those boycott lists, by the way. So these people trying to support these boycotts are sitting here in an event sponsored by one of the boycott listed companies, which is just one of the many hypocritical things, but I think you guys get it at this point. And in response to her ban, Frogan would say this: yapping is for the girlies, not weird old men. And then she would lock her replies. The bravest soldier out there. But, of course, she's not so brave. She has been going around removing all of her content on various social media platforms and also pausing invites to her Discord server. I would assume trying to cover her tracks because she's afraid she might get more significant punishment than she's already received. But overall, this is a terrible, terrible look for Twitch, who cannot put their foot down for anything. They can put their foot down for a VTuber showing too much of their hip, but they can't put their foot down for someone spreading and encouraging and glorifying terrorist propaganda, people wishing harm upon U.S. military veterans, and all of these related things that are just disgusting. Like, can we take a moment to realize how disgusting this behavior is and how normalized it is on Twitch? It's really horrible to look at, and this is Twitch's problem. They are facing a big PR crisis right now, and they deserve it. They absolutely deserve it. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.